What I love about being an artist the most is the flexibility it can give me and the feeling that I'm true to myself for once. Growing up, art was not really acceptable in my family. It was not really looked upon as something to do, especially as a career. I'm from Australia originally. I was born in Sydney and grew up about 4 hours north of Sydney, kind of coastal rural community, and we moved several times growing up. So that's where I lived until I was about 18, 19 years old, and then moved to the States. My upbringing in Australia was very religious. It was very fundamental, very strict, and in my situation, my father was strict way more than my mother, and he felt like we had to look good on the outside, and that's what I feel like more than anything, that it's how it looked to other people. So a lot of my work ends up being about that. My recollection series is a lot about tradition. It's very much about the experiences I felt as a child growing up this way. Growing up, we're never supposed to dance or listen to music, but at school we had dance lessons. I felt like I was kind of alienated out, like I was different. Some of my sisters would have felt the same way, and I feel like we were bullied just because of the way we dressed, and I didn't choose to dress like that. So it's interesting to look back at that and remember feeling very hurt by it. But right now it's sort of turned into this painting of no one really understands. They'll look at it and think, oh, it's a beautiful dance lesson. And then if you zoom right in, you can see that there's a little stick and there's this little gap because they did not want to physically touch me because I was weird or strange or something to them. So then my work is very much, I call it narrative vignettes of my past. So these little snippets, little pieces of memories that I had as a child. I try to piece them together and I try to take out the ugly and make it beautiful. I think it's cathartic or therapeutic for me because for the most part, I'm thinking about those memories and I think about ways that I can look at them in a different light or add something to them, and it helps me answer some of my questions that I had growing up, like why, and I think I'm finding answers. With my live wedding paintings, I started out by just randomly doing one for a friend. I was thinking, oh, what do we get them for a gift? And I'm like, I'll just bring my paints and my easel along and maybe I can whip something up at their wedding. Let's give it a try. And I hadn't heard of this as a career or anything before, so I just did it. It was a big hit at that wedding. Basically, I show up, I just start with a blank canvas, and I start out with a sketch just using some Turpenoids and paint thinners. I'm working in oil paint. I'm sketching out the basic shapes so you're seeing some of the lights and you'll see the basic fireplace, and always remembering that at some point when the guests arrive, they're going to start punching in, so I've got to be careful how dark I go in there. Perspective-wise, I kind of skew things in a little just to make it work in the painting and make it a good composition. Generally, a lot of weddings tend to be more symmetrical because of the nature of how they set everybody up and they place it. You get this very repetitive, symmetrical composition, but all the lines are drawn right into the bride. My experience painting live has been, probably for the year, that year I did many art shows where I would paint live and demonstrate at every show because that really worked for me. I found that just by painting live lets people see the process. They're somewhat wowed by it and it helps engage them in and just they see the process. I was teach art classes also. I teach kids classes, adult classes, and I also am doing the new wine and paint night classes, which have been really popular. And I do community ed classes also, where I teach students, and it's more of a setting where, you know, if they want to learn how to paint or the certain technique, like the wipe away technique, then they have the opportunity to do that. So it's more or less a true art setting versus the social event painting. But I start from a blank canvas whenever I teach my classes. I never do a drawing to start with. I want them to realize that they did this themselves and they can be really enriched by that. They walk away, and some people have told me that you've just boosted my self-confidence by 100,000 times, you know. So I get really good positive feedback and comments, and it makes me feel good that I can contribute somehow to the community, like by teaching them and embracing them with the arts. I have 3 kids, and my husband is very supportive with my artwork. This summer has been really good because I've decided, okay, they're going to go to daycare for 3 days out of the week, and 2 days I get to be with them and do the mom-kid thing, and I want to get them into swimming lessons, and it's just, they embrace every little bit of me being an artist, and they just absolutely love it. Like, I'm painting down here, and the next thing one of them comes down and I want to paint, so I set up a little easel for them, and I don't make them paint if they don't want to. Like, if they come and ask me to paint, sure, I'll be like, totally go for it. I have lots of goals with my artwork, and as far as what I want to accomplish with my art and where I want it to take, I really don't know. I think I'm just happy letting it go with wherever it's going to go. You know, I dream about painting these murals on walls somewhere, but then I'm like, I gotta slow down. I'm like, think about one thing at a time. So it's just very exciting for me. I love every bit of it.